Hey everybody! If you hear noises in the background, it's Kiwi making food. It's going to be delicious. It's going to be grilled cheese sandwiches with tomato soup and onions and all sorts of good stuff. So I'm looking forward to that a lot. It sounds absolutely amazing, and yeah. Anyway, so it should be good. Have you ever wondered how on earth people get their stray hairs just to work with it? Because it's like for me, it's like they just go. It's like, oh my goodness, stop it, stop it, stop it, stop it. Anyway, the point of the matter is I don't know how people do it because my hair eats through hair gel like no other. So therefore, anyway, something that I did want to touch on today, I watched Off the Deep End with, who was it? Who was it today? Hold on. Let me find out for 100% factual who it was. Go to YouTube, go to YouTube. I know I'm singing again. I never promised that I wouldn't, so the deep end. So I was watching the deep end. Ooh, that one looks good. Cosmic Rebellion, Sirens, Watchers, and the Fall of Lucifer with Mitch Turnbow. I'll definitely watch that one. That sounds amazing. But let's see. So this one was with Alberino. Tim Alberino. Absolutely fascinating person to listen to. He was talking about all the stuff that he's gone and researched and done, and he's gone to all throughout Peru, and he was talking about um, he was talking about hybrids. There you have the elongated skull people, and then you have uh, bodies that were found recently that were three toed, three fingered bodies of really just odd proportions. He's going to be going and actually getting to run tests and look at the bodies and everything. I can't wait to hear his findings on that. But he talks about the genetic markers that people have that the difference between having the natural long elongated skull versus having the ones that have been through wraps and stuff like that, and it's absolutely fascinating stuff. And the reality behind that is that when you start looking at that, and he's like, this will completely change the paradigm shift of everybody, because it will if this is factual, it'll 100% prove that there are other beings on this planet other than just people when it comes to high intelligences and everything else. And it's like one of those, I just look at it and it's like the honesty is that they're already here and already among us. And just go watch Dark Waters, and his keep your eyes on the waters thing, and he goes over some of the reptilian evidences, where you watch people, it's like their throat does all sorts of stuff, or their eyes shift, or, so on and so forth. It's all quite fascinating when you really start looking into it. But the reality is that we've been, there's been crossbreeding going on for years, and if you know what to look for, you start seeing it all over the place. I've seen so many of them recently, and it's just one of those. It's kind of wild to look around and say, oh, I recognize that. I recognize that, and that's definitely not human over there, and everything. It's crossbreeds of forms, and so one of those. It's actually a really interesting study that he's going through on there, and apparently he did a lot of work on. Unfortunately, after David Flynn passed away, a lot of work of going through the stuff that he has, and you want to talk about a researcher, Tim Albino. Um, uh, Let me make sure I'm saying that right. Tim Alberino. Absolutely absolutely amazing researcher. He gets into a lot of just awesome things, and 100% he brings up stuff that I've been told by confidential sources, and he's it's like one of those. It's often startling how much it parallels what I have been told. Now, I haven't done the researches that he has done, um, just simply because I've never was able to go and do that. But when I when I look at it and it's like it matches 100, almost 90% to 98%, it's like, wow, that's amazing. Uh, this confirms a lot of the sources that I've heard stuff from, and everything else, and I definitely recommend checking out Off the Deep End with Tim Alberino. He's done at least two there with him, and um, it's so it's one of those. It's like, well, what does that matter? And here's the thing. When you start looking at it and saying, well, what does it matter? It proves certain things. Um, if you're looking at it, and I like his ideal that we live in a world full of color, not just black and white. We have so many different things that falls into uh, different categories. It's just one of those. It's like, okay, well, what is a watcher? It's like, okay, well, we can go through Enoch, and he gives certain things. And once again, we live in English. But when I talk to another person, it's like, well, what is a watcher? And they put it, instead of, well, you're it's an angel. It's no, you are somebody who watches and sees, and has a understanding of what can happen, and can give warnings to people, and so on and so forth. And it's like, wow, okay, that's a different meaning than some stuff. And once again, we live in an English society, so therefore, I'm sorry, it's an English language. We have really poor English language, and trying to figure out what all the words of how not to offend anybody or invoke anything. It's really hard sometimes. So, once again, forgive me, because I'm not perfect and English sucks. Anyway, but the point of the matter is, it's just one of those. It's absolutely incredible what he is going through, and chronicling, and everything. He's doing a really cool thing up in Montana this year in June, which sounds absolutely incredible. He has a full list of people there that are going. That's like Paulides, who wrote Missing 411 and all the subsequent, and he goes through all the evidences of what's happening with that. Absolutely, once again, great person to listen to, because he goes into some pretty amazing disappearances stories. Another thing that Paulides did is he did a complete breakdown of Skinwalker Ranch seasons. And I agree with some of his conclusions. I disagree with others, and that's fine. I'm not watching the Skinwalker Ranch series because, well, I don't have cable TV. I'm not going to waste my money and such. And David Paulides does a great job of going through and analyzing everything, and it's like, cool. um, anyway, so the point of the matter, though, is that when you start looking around, you're finding all sorts of different things, and I can't even begin to agree with Dan Duvall enough when he says, well, there's a lot more than just demons. Clearly. But because we've convinced ourselves that only this box fits, we really put things into a box, and anything that falls outside of that box, well, we either need to try to cram it into the box and make it fit, especially for Christians, or we have to discard it and say that it cannot exist. Bigfoot is one of those ones that I absolutely love watching people on, because it's like, oh, they can't exist, they can't exist, they can't exist, and well, why? You know, I mean, like, seriously, why? It's like, I've heard, I've now looked into so many different theories with it, and it's absolutely fascinating. You know, it's like one theorem that I heard this week from Dark Waters, absolutely a cool theorem. You know, as he put it out, you know, they are the sons of the Nephilim. I don't know if that's factual or not. I'm not about ready to agree or disagree with him, but I would put that out there as a possibility that Bigfoot could be the sons of a Watcher. I'm not, or not Watcher, sons of the Nephilim. Sorry, my bad. Once again, I have a scattered brain that sometimes goes all directions, and we get words and stuff all mixed up. So, you know, it's like poof, 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 poof. And trying to keep up with my thoughts that are going out are sometimes very difficult. And so, therefore, actually trying to communicate and put everything into a very good simulants order is actually sometimes very, very, very difficult, especially when you're going like 50 different directions. Anyway, where were we? Yes, that's right. So, Bigfoot. Whew. Are they sons of you know, the Nephilim? Maybe. I mean, maybe. I haven't seen anything that would necessarily conclude that that is factual, but I haven't seen anything that would conclude that that is unfactual. So, you know, it's the same thing with Dogman. He puts it as the son of Nephilim, and it's like, I'm going to disagree with this one highly, just simply because I've seen the Dogman. I've seen Bigfoot too, and I can almost agree with you that they could be. Dogman, slightly different story there. Once again, when looking at that one, you know, it is striking how it is striking how they walk and move, because what you are seeing there when they're walking and moving and everything is you're I don't know if so there used to be a black lab that we would actually dance with, and you know, she would come over, she put her paws up, you know, here, and we would dance back and forth. She absolutely loved it, and so it was sort of that ballroom dancing type of thing, and you know, she enjoyed it, and we did the dance, and you know, it was the same as watching that, just without needing a support. Now you say, well, that's impossible for a dog to do. Well, have you ever seen a dog with just two you know, just two back legs? Uh, there's videos actually on YouTube that you can go and you can watch this on, and you know, you see them hopping around and actually learning how to walk like a person, because their front legs are not there. So you know, and they adopted another one, and it actually taught that other dog, that puppy, how to walk the same way. So it's one of those. Is this an impossibility for dogs to walk on their hind legs? Absolutely not. And something that you might see or notice is when you consider how big a wolf is, that's, you know, 4 or 5 feet long. Well, if you put them on their hind haunches, now that 4 or 5 feet is equal to about 6 or 7 feet, because of how much higher they are on their back haunches. You know, when the black lab was you know, walking on all fours, someone that I would dance with, you know, she was obviously a lot shorter than me, didn't even come up to my hip. But when she danced, her head was above mine at 5 foot. So when you start looking at dogmen, it's like one of those, when you really start looking at it, it's like they are literally hind walking dogs that have hands that more resemble a human's hands than dog feet. And it's just one of those, you look at it and say, that's impossible, and it's like, well, why is it impossible? You know, it's just one of those, why would they not exist? I mean, you can go back and you can find werewolf examples for hundreds and if not thousands of years back. You can find, the Romans had peace with a dog-headed tribe. Romulus and Remus, the founders of Rome, were raised by a she-wolf. I don't know if you've ever seen any documentation on the people that have been raised by animals, but I can promise you that if they are raised by animals, generally they don't fit into human society very well. But if you were raised by a dogman, would you? The answer is probably. Then you can actually look into the Roman Catholic Church. Saint Christopher, I believe it is, the dog-headed man that they converted, who basically did all sorts of things. I don't remember all the things they did, but the point of the matter is that it was a dog-headed, person that joined the church and was converted. And so therefore, you if you start looking into history, you find all sorts of references to these. These aren't something that is mysterious in any way, shape, or form, and they've been well known and well documented throughout the ages. Throughout the centuries, I guess, or millennia, however you want to put it. But the point of the matter is that okay, well that happened. Interestingly enough, people who have encountered the dogmen have actually had conversations with them, and the conversations that they've had with them have been absolutely wild. In fact, one of them, was using words, along Christian words of, when somebody had killed one of them, and it's like, will you repent for that? So when St. Christopher, the dog-headed person who converted to Catholicism in, I don't know, like 1400s or something like that, did he give information to others of his kind? And so therefore it propagated and became, do they have religion? The answer is probably, maybe, why not? So it's really just one of those, when you start looking into it, it's absolutely fascinating how much we actually see in our world that mimics this, a whole lot, and everything that goes behind it. Need another drink. So for everybody who sits there and says, well, no, it's not, I know better, because that these things cannot exist. No, they don't, because I've never seen one. Well, you're not a witness. So immediately, your feelings do not equal testimony. Your feelings do not equal truth. Your feelings do not equal fact. If I have 150 people that come up to me and all testify to me the same thing, the exact same thing, and I say, no, that cannot be. Well, here's a problem that you are running into with this, is that you're not an eyewitness testimony, they are. You're now telling 150 people who have all seen the same thing that they are 100% wrong. Okay? This doesn't equal that just because you have 150 eyewitness testimonies, that exactly what they said happened. But I can't go and tell them they're wrong because, well, I don't agree with their findings. And so that's just the reality of how things should work, is, the factor that, I, when you look at eyewitness testimonies in scriptures, it says in 3 different places by 3 different people that in the witness of 2 or 3 a matter is established in heaven and earth. You have this in done by Moses, and I believe it's Deuteronomy. You have this said by Yeshua, and I believe it's Matthew, and you have this said by, I think, Paul in 2 Corinthians. So you literally have 3 witnesses saying that this is so and how it works. It's kind of a neat thing. So it's just one of those. But that is why when you look and says, Thou shalt not bear false witness. It means that you, if you are going and you are telling falsities, that you are responsible, you are committing a sin, and you are doing damage to people, because what you are doing is you are establishing as a fact. When it's, if it's not, then that's on you, not on the other people. So anyway, the it's just one of those. It's really quite interesting when you start looking at into cases and everything, and you find witnesses that are witnessing multiple things. Now, this is not saying that just because I witnessed something that it makes it, I witnessed a dog man. Witnessed it walking past my window. I saw it multiple times. It locked eyes with me. I see it. We came to a quick understanding that if it's passing by, I stay in my zone. It stays in it, and we're cool. We're not going to have any problems. We established that together. Now, this is what I saw. This is my witness of what I've seen. And I even had other people that have seen this as well. So when you consider that, I literally have three witnesses of this. It establishes it in heaven and earth that this is what is so. So therefore, if somebody comes up and says, well, you couldn't have seen that because it doesn't exist. Well, were you a witness? No. Were you there? No. Have you studied this to its logical conclusions and gone out looking for it? Well, oftentimes, no. Or maybe they have, yes. Well, have you seen anything that would disprove it? No. But I've never seen it, so therefore it can't exist. I'm sorry, this is not a witness. This is somebody who is inflicting their personal belief on top of trying to put their personal belief over that of the witness. That doesn't work that way. Now, I have 150 people who witness the same thing, but you have another 50 people that were there. Now we're having 200 who witnessed something slightly different, and were able to come to a slightly different conclusion. So they did this actually experiment, and I think it was Loch Ness, where they basically they drug something through the water, and they dragged it in front of a whole bunch of people and then asked them what they saw. And so you had all sorts of different minor answers, anything from the thing was 10 feet tall to the thing was 2 feet tall. And so they basically they ran the gauntlet of they were all saying slightly different things. The thing of it is that while they all reported the same thing, they all reported it slightly different ways. Why? Because the human eye, the human brain can go through and it can create certain things that try to make sense of what you're looking at. So, this happens all the time when you're talking about height, because you immediately start trying to work on, well, how tall is this, and what they found is that with the 150 people that they were looking at, when they actually did the math on it, when they took the 150 people and they divided all their answers, they actually got that the proper height, or so close to it that it was just a few inches off, which was pretty awesome. Anyway, the point of the matter is that it's very hard for witnesses oftentimes to come forward on things, because what ends up happening is they're told they're foolish, they're told they're lying, they're told they're crazy, they're told that they need to stop drinking so much, or that they're on drugs. Well, the honesty is you have people that are not doing any of those things oftentimes that see stuff. And anyway, I think I lost track of where I was going with this. Anyway, the factor is that we have a lot of different things out there that we can witness, and a lot of different things that can be true and everything. And so when you start looking at it, um, we tend to like to bring our quote unquote rose colored glasses, where it's sort of like, okay, the Vatican, back when I believe it was Galileo, um, was showing off you know the telescope and the other worlds, and you had them put on, they didn't look into the telescope, so that way they would not be able to, they when they went and they wouldn't tell a lie of, oh well, I saw the other planets and they were round or whatever. So basically they blinded themselves to what was actually going on, so that way they could keep their world view of where they wanted to. However, when you do this, you're not doing anybody any favors anywhere. You putting on your own blinders and saying, well, this doesn't exist because I refuse to see it. Wonderful. That does nothing for anybody. Not even yourself. Anyway, point of the matter is, I hope that everybody's doing well today, and I've had my Fox and co-host here. She's been sleeping next to me. I think I wore her out because of how much I've been demanding her editing all the videos and stuff. And she's done a good job of it, but I think she's tired of editing videos. So, anyway, I hope everybody's doing well. Have a great day. See you on the next one.